Our purpose is to build a holistic voice that creates a community of like-minded, healthy people for a healthier planet. Our goal is to unify the community, nourishing the growth in mind, body, spirit, awareness, and wellness. We want to engage our community and visitors so they have access to powerful momentum of the holistic presence in our community. We do this by creating awareness through interviews, providing education and awareness of cutting-edge modalities. We also provide access for consumers to quality natural health and wellness professional and practitioners and like-minded business that support this community. Thank you for listening with us on Healthy Planet One. Stay with us for the next interview with our next holistic guest.
Welcome, everyone. This month's focus is on intention and building success for this new year. And we are now in a part 2 series on the tools that you can use to build your successful year. Part 1, we had Michelle, and part 2, we now have Kimberly KNOX. They're 2 very experienced practitioners who use the resources of numerology, astrology daily for decisions, inspiration, and direction in their lives and businesses. So we invite you to listen to them. And our guest, of course, is our dear Kimberly KNOX. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome.
Hi.
And Kimberly is, as we know, she's a student and practicing astrologer for over 25 years and has taught basic astrology and led monthly Café Talks in the Fort Lauderdale area. And you called it What's in the Stars for You. And that's what we're going to be talking about in part 2 of our whole thing about 2020. We're so excited to hear your expansion on what we've already been talking, because you are so well qualified. So welcome, Kimberly.
So I'm really, really happy to talk about this. I mean, honestly, astrology has been part of my life since I was a child. I was interested in what is the deeper meaning of life, and I used it very, very integrally with my business and in sales. But as an integrative health coach, I also bring it in a quantum physics type of way, because it is the metaphysical science that is most related to mathematics. So it's a quantum science type of energy. And you know that I work with bioenergetic cooking. I work with testing the energetic fields of the body. So it is all quantum physics. Mm-hmm. So some of my clients really do want to know what's going on, and the energy as above, so below. This energy will affect our health, some people more than others. So what I really wanted to start out with is I think over the last 2 years, a lot of us have been feeling a lot of pressure, and kind of talk about maybe what that is.
Well, yeah, why is that? What is that pressure? And particularly, I think you can really talk about this. Since 2020 started, it's like, what's going on, right?
Right. We've got some laser focus. So what I really want to say is that the message is here. We have gotten the message the last 2 years, and I know myself how difficult it's been, because so just to give you some technical stuff about what's been lining up, and we've been talking about it for a long time. The sign of Capricorn and Cancer, where we're holding the eclipses. This is where we have the eclipses. That means that the full and the new moon are near the ecliptic, so it creates an eclipse. So those signs have been getting an overhaul, like it's a major new moon. It's a major lunar eclipse. So people born in those signs have been going through big things in their life, but it also is where our points of security are. Our emotional security, our security in the world. So when we have a lineup, and then we put the very strong and powerful planets of Saturn and Pluto in that same sign, you know that the universe is asking us to be different, to come from mastery, to really, so they have been putting us through the ringer over the last 2 years. And I can say, and if anyone out there has been feeling before this past weekend, like you're kind of just turning over things, and you're being put through tests, and things are falling away, and you're not sure about your foundation. Well, now is the time that we got some messages. Did you get some messages since Friday, Patricia?
Yeah.
Okay, so good or bad, it's like Pluto is intense. It rules Scorpio. And when Pluto is on our sun, so when I counsel people, I do personal stuff. I'm not looking out in the world, although we can see what's going out in the world, because as above, so below, but I look at the person. So this intensity has been putting us to look at, okay, where do you want to focus? So it's been breaking down everything that we've known, so that maybe we're testing out different things, and maybe we go, oh, I really like doing this, but it's almost like a birthing process, because
I can attest to that, right?
Yes.
I got to the end of last week and I went, oh my God, I got to just see a movie.
Yes, it never leaves us the same, but it does upgrade us, because it's like burning off the grass. North in the country, you burn the grass and the grass grows back greener, and that's kind of that whole thing. But Saturn also is the timing. It's the major timers. Astrology is the science of time. So wherever Saturn is, along with the eclipses, we need to look at that area of our lives. So it's been asking us to master, but it waited until it got all the way to like 22 degrees to join with Saturn. To join with Pluto. So we've been turning in this mastery over the last 2 years, and big things came to me just as of last night, the last one. So it's really amazing, because it says now we know the framework that we need to build on, because Saturn got the message.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know you've been really asking a lot, and that's really great to hear that, that it's funny, because Michelle talked about it's time for reflection. It's time to go within. I'll get to that.
I'll get to that for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I don't want
to. Yeah. Well, the thing is that what I want to get to is that we actually have one of the biggest blessings of the year coming up on March 25th. And the reason that, and I want everyone to look forward to that, because the time of Capricorn it's not when we plant new seeds. It's when we actually accomplish the seeds that we planted during the time of Aries, which is the new year for astrology. And if you mess up planting the seeds, you don't grow any crops. But so the sign of Capricorn, why it's so important and why a lot of Capricorns are so successful, and it rules the goat climbing the mountain, is because that's when we really create success from our hard work. So right now, up until we're going to have a new moon in Aries on March 24th. And it's also the exact same time that Mars, which is another personal planet that controls how we take action, is then meeting with Pluto. Does that not sound powerful?
Well, Mars, I know Mars is being fiery, but Pluto, I know is being way out there in the.
So what it's saying is that, okay, the personal planet Mars, how we take action, meeting with Pluto, is saying, okay, it's getting its information now. So we're taking action. I'll get into this, but so Venus is a planet, like Michelle brought in. It's very important. It is our sister planet here on Earth. So Mercury is closest to the sun. And then Venus, you have Venus between the sun and the earth. And then Mars is the next planet out in the solar system makeup. And Venus and Mars there are efficiency planets. So it's like we put a wish of desire into Venus, like our dream board. And Mars is our energy that goes and gets that. So that's why they're efficiency planets. And that's why it's very important to look at what Mars is doing. At the end of this year, Mars is going to be retrograde pretty much 6 months between its shadow point and when it comes out. So yes, and that's very important. I'll get back to that. But right now, what we're coming to is what's called Venus wholeness. And this is not brought out a lot, but what that means to you and everyone else, Patricia, is that there were some seeds that you planted in the fall of 2018 when Venus and Sun came together in her retrograde motion, when she met with the Sun. We planted some seeds in the sign of Scorpio that's very deep about what our intention and desires are, and we nourished that. We nourished it, and then we had to refine it. And then on August 14th of this past year, we got some notion about feedback about how we were doing. Well, March 25th is the wholeness period where we're going to be shining. And then 50 days after that, we're going to get the feedback. It's like standing on the mountain. So I really want people to keep pushing forward now that they've got those messages, and to revel in those things that they're bringing up, that they've been working on.
So let me ask you, just to clarify. So a lot of people I've just know have been or are experiencing a lot of anxiety that seems to be mounting, really confronting. And you're saying that that's been caused over the last year by this Saturn-Pluto relationship?
So absolutely, because they're also cardinal points. Cardinal points are action, but both of those points they rule our security. It's like the root chakra. Do we feel secure? Do we have a place to live? Do we have enough money? Are we emotionally secure? How's our family? These are the security points. So when those are threatened, or we have unknowns, it creates anxiety. I know. I was there.
I know, right?
Seriously, going back and forth. Nothing was coming together. But what it was doing is saying, do you have the staying power? How good are you at, going with it? Because it's going to be shown to you if you have the faith. But yes, so the Saturn Pluto, but because they came together, we should have gotten some message, some notion. And fully also because the lunar eclipse in Cancer brings things to a head. It just happened for me, and I deal with people's charts that want to know, and I deal with CEOs and planning and stuff. But when that comes to wherever in your life that is coming, then you see those results there. So it is kind of personal, but then again, we have the eclipses. So eclipses bring things out of the blue. So there's nothing like learning that you lost a job, or you lose a loved one, or something good happens. So this can bring stress of the unknown.
Well, I know that Saturn is also the planet of discipline as well. So, and that goes back to what Michelle was talking about in part one, that, it's that planning and that really being very on track in terms of what the words you're saying, what's the energy that you're keying into that day, that week, that month, etc. So when you're going through these anxiety periods, I mean, I know how hard it is to say, well, I don't know if I'll ever get through this. But when you talked about March 25th, it was like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
There's a huge light at the end of the tunnel. We should have got some information over the weekend about that. But yes, Saturn vibrates with the number 4. Saturn is where it's in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn ruler is Saturn. So you see all of this is lining up to say, yes, this is the year of creating our foundation, creating mastery. It's pushing us to master something within us. So if we're avoiding that or not wanting to go, if we have fear or doubt, it will create some anxiety as well, because we have to change. It's also creating our structure. But with Pluto there, it's been breaking down the known so we can rebuild. So anything that has fallen away in the last 2 years is not meant to be with us. And just knowing that should bring a little bit of relief. And then knowing that things that you have been building, that you identified were deeply important to you, because that's what Venus does. And Venus is going to go retrograde this year too. It's going to go retrograde and make a new Venus point, Venus star. It's going retrograde in the sign of Gemini. So, and that's going to be happening in May, I believe, May 13th. And what that means is now the things that are going to be helpful